Willits is our town. Always has been, and always will be. Like any other town, it changes just a little bit from time to time. So we're here to let you know some of the things that are going on in your town.
Hi there, I'm Shari Williams-Andrews, your host for This Week in Willits, where we always learn more about our town and its recent and upcoming events. First up, local gardener Chris Hardaker shows us how easy it is to grow a garden using straw bales. He takes us on a tour of the straw bale demonstration garden in the WISC Center on Lenore Street in Willits. Find out how you can grow your own garden even if you're surrounded by pavement. Next up, Blue Luke and friends are jamming away on Friday nights at the Mendoneisa Cafe in Willits. Check this segment out for a snippet of the Friday Night Freedom Jam. Next up, Sustainaball, an event at the Willits Farmers Market with music, food, and art, bringing awareness of the Keystone XL pipeline to the forefront. Next up, we have a groovy little PSA for Willits Community Television, where you'll see me telling you all about how you can get your shows on local cable access in Willits. Watch this segment for all the details. Finally, we have fancy, flaming, fun fire dancing with Luminesque at a recent event at the Shakespeare tent, followed by an evil little pussycat that just does not want to tell you what's new. So let's head on over to the WISC Gardens to see what Chris Hardaker has to say about straw bales.
Howdy Willits, my name is Chris Hardaker. I'm a new grower. I started growing vegetables last year at the community garden back here, so I'm pretty green. And last year we solved a problem up in Brook Trails. My dad's been up there for about 10 years, loves tomatoes, hasn't been able to grow any because it's dark. We put a couple of straw bales out in the parking lot, which is of gravel, and by the end of the summer we had 6 producing tomato plants, so I was jazzed. Over here at the community garden, Mason Jim, who's the director, and several others, we got together for an experimental attempt to see what you can do with straw bale gardening. And what we decided to do was kind of split them up into 2 different parts. JD Redhouse gave us 50 bales to play with, and we put most of them to work. It is best to think of straw bale gardening as raised gardens meets hydroponics. Straw bales are essentially sterile, or you should treat them that way, and they need to be soaked. And so if you put them out, say January or February, and let the rains soak them, that's probably the best thing to do. We used a soaker hose just to make sure they got wet. If you don't keep them wet, rats and mice might come in and make them their homes. So that was the major thing. You got to kind of curate them. Plus, what we did was throw on some nitrogen. It helps the composting process of these of the bales. So you kind of throw about 3 or 4 cups of nitrogen. We used bird guano. Just forced it down with a hose so it kind of sits down in the near center of the bales, and it'll start cooking. And temperatures can get up to about 120, 130 degrees when you're using straw. If you use hay, it can get up to about 160 and you can burn yourself. The good thing about hay is it has all the nutrients already in it just waiting, so you don't have to add anything. So I guess the secret there is to curate it for several months. We had some hay out here last year to experiment with. We were burning our hands, pulling out, you dig a hole and you're pulling out all the hay, almost getting welts. So we put into plants, and within a week they were toast. The roots really don't like 150 degree heat. And I guess the secret is just give it a wait for a couple of months, or maybe over the winter. So what we did is after a couple of months, we started planting stuff, and you can just treat this as dirt. I put a coating of soil and compost over the tops at first, just to let the nutrients settle into it, because like I said, you got to treat this as sterile, so you got to add your own nutrients and the rest of it. The great news is you don't have to bend that much, and that was one of my problems last year in working in the garden out there. I'm kind of tall and old, and my back doesn't like to bend too much, and I get grumpy. So this kind of helps avoid that. And other than that, the bales themselves seem to retain a lot of water, and that's one of the things we're looking at this year, is to see, you know, what does well and what doesn't, and under what conditions. Here we have just a whole bunch of stuff. We thought variability would be a good thing to do on this side, and we have kale and flowers, more kale, some broccoli, some more flowers, basil, tomato, you know, some more basil and rosemary, and just anything we could find. One of the things, if you go on YouTube, you can find a lot. If you put in strawbale gardening, you'll get a lot of little videos there that really help you out. But root crops like onions, carrots, stuff like that, they warn against that. In a year, this stuff will break down into soil, in which case it'll be fine for that, and tomatoes. Though if anybody's had success, we'd sure like to know about it. But everything we've planted so far seems to have done pretty well, and some of the beans didn't get enough water, so they got toasted really early on. The key to all this is always watering, and we were using misters all around here. But misters have a way of depleting or being depleted when there's other water sources going on. Right now we're in the middle of county property and city property, so whenever any water goes on, they kind of pull back and you get some drying going on. But we fixed all that with some drips. Other than that, I think you can grow about anything. Hopefully what we're going to be doing is not only having vegetables and flowers and all this other, you know, flora growing, but at the end of all this, we get soil. And out in front of this building, they took all the soil and moved it up towards these buildings for landscaping, leaving behind hard clay and rocks. There isn't really too much opportunity to grow stuff. So one of the missions of this whole process was to bring in some straw bales, you know, grow things out of them for a couple of years. But then we'll have a whole bunch of very nice composted soil. If you have a chance to go down and talk to Marie at Fry Winery, you'll see some 4-year-old soils that are just amazing. We have some corn down here, tomatoes are growing fine, and some sunflowers. And come on down, I have a list over here if you want to come down and visit any old time. You'll see all the variety in here. But I'd like to go over here and show you our Tomatoville, which we're just doing a whole bunch of different kinds of tomatoes. Now these bales, we set them up in May. We set the other bales up in April. They still had a little bit of rain. This was completely soaker hosed to curate it. And we had to do that for about a month. Threw on some soil, threw in a whole bunch of nitrogen, just like over there. And we started planting, I guess it was early June. When we did it, the bales were about 120 degrees. I thought they were all going to die. But we kept watering them, and they've come along really, really nice. For example, look at this. This is a happy plant. This guy's coming along really good. We figured we got so many tomatoes in here, we really kind of better get into chili sauce and spaghetti sauce and ketchup, and people are even talking about fermented ketchup. We got these little rings, if you can get a close-up on this. We're trying a vine approach to growing tomatoes, and it saves money on about $10 a cage. If we were going to get a cage for all of these, we were talking, I don't know, $200, $250. So that was a real good money-saving thing. We also get a lot of volunteers, and mostly mushrooms. These come with the bales, it seems. These are kind of old. They've been here a couple of days, but you can come out here in the morning and see maybe 30, 40, or a couple of hundred sometimes just poking up through overnight.
Are they edible?
I wouldn't touch them. No, I just, like them. They're aesthetic and kind of cool, but no, I don't touch them. This is kind of just an idea of what you guys can do with straw bales. They cost anywhere $6, $7, and If you don't have soil or you don't have sun in your garden area, throw them anywhere. You can put them on a deck, on a roof. We're right now doing a thing out of Brook Trails, which is a tennis court, and looking at urban gardening techniques out there maybe. And hopefully we'll be putting up some bales out there on the asphalt just to, be a communal area maybe. That's for next year, but this success right now is kind of making us think of what we want to do next year. And if you guys have any ideas, come on in and let's talk. Because my background is anthropology and archaeology and essentially a book nerd. I never thought I'd be getting into gardening. But when I saw this straw bale stuff, I figure this could have a real impact in cities. All cities, because there's a lack of soil and all the rest of it, lots of asphalt and parking lots. Bales can be put in parking lots and you can grow food. So this is something we're looking into, and I think it's a great hope for the future. We're down here at the well offices on Lenore and the log cabin, so usually there's somebody here during the day. Just give them a call.
Mendocino County? Come join us at the Sustainaball this Thursday, September 22nd, at the Willits Farmers Market from 3 to 6. There will be a solar-powered stage for the community to unite and create music, dance, and art as we celebrate sustainability. We will be raising awareness and funds for the Tar Sands Action Group, who are currently in Washington, D.C., encouraging President Barack Obama to deny the Keystone XL pipeline. We'll see you Thursday, and don't forget to bring your instruments and friends.
Shari Williams-Andrews. I've been the host of Willits Community Television's program This Week in Willits for a while now, and over that time I've learned quite a bit about what goes on here. I'll bet some of you have questions about how public access works here in Willits, the way I did. The federal government's Communications Act allows cities and counties the right to require cable television companies to set aside channels for public, educational, or governmental use. Willits has done that in order to allow anyone who lives around here, that's you, the right to put programming on our local cable system. Willits Community Television is the nonprofit organization they've chosen to make that happen. You're watching right now, and we all enjoy watching interesting local programs, but I'd like to tell you a little bit about how you can participate and get your own creations onto Willits TV, because the programs on Channel 3 come from people just like you. Locally produced programs also can go on our website for the whole world to see. The First Amendment says we have freedom of speech, and WCTV gives us a pretty good soapbox to speak from. It really is very simple. You, your friends, and associates produce a video on any subject of your choosing. If you have equipment, great. If you don't, we can lend you what you need and show you how to use it. If you need help editing your video, we can help you with that too. It's Willits' own TV station, and it's here to air all of your ideas and interests. Your interest in sports, community, family, politics, funny stuff, really anything you can think of. And did we mention it doesn't have to cost you a dime? That's kind of hard to beat. Until recently, we were simply thought of as Channel 3, but now in addition, we operate Channel 64, where you can view all of our local government in action, such as Willits City Council meetings, as well as watching the county supervisors hammering away at issues that affect us all. But there's even more. Channel 65 is our community bulletin board where you'll get the scoop on everything that's happening around town. When your community organization is sponsoring an event or has services you want to publicize, let us know. Our email is info@willitstv.org, and our telephone number is 459-2528. Come on down and see us. WCTV is in the historic Carnegie Library building located at 85 East Commercial Street. Call or email us first to find out the best time, and we'll give you the tour. Thanks so much for watching, and we look forward to hearing from you and sharing your videos. That was our latest episode of This Week in Willits. The individual segments of this program were produced by local filmmakers, and you don't have to be a film pro to contribute to This Week in Willits. Contact us with your ideas and find out how you or your organization can be a part of our next program. Well, I'm Shari. Goodbye until next time.
So that's about are happening in Willits, as they always are, and things are changing as they always do. Yet it's still the same familiar hometown we've all come to know and appreciate for what it is. We'd like to know what's happening with you, with your families, and the organizations which would not exist without your efforts and support. So give us a call at 459-2528 and let us know what's going on with you. Maybe you'll be a part of our next story. Keep tuned and join us next time to see what's happening this week in Willits.